that's it for this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed. My only goal now is to not get locked inside my own prison. Bye! Where am I?
Oh.
Why didn't you just kill me?
You don't fear respawning. Your punishment must be much more severe.
Torture?
Yes, but not of your hit points. Of your soul.
Where am I?
Home, where I learned the truth to despair. Hope. You cannot have true despair without hope. Years now they've been coming here, looking for it. The end. There isn't one. But we call this place the end to poison their souls. And when they realize the depth to their mistake, they may put their things in an e-chest, and then they have my permission to die.
No! You can't.
But the madness can stop if you remove the Obsidian towers.
You know I'm too lazy to ever do that.
Yes, I do.
No. There must be a way. No! No! Hey everybody, I'm CaptnZap. Welcome to the video. Today we're doing something pretty special. We're building possibly the world's first AFK Obsidian Tower mining machine. That's right, we're going to be able to mine these towers completely AFK because I don't got it in me to do it by hand. So let's do it. The way the machine works is your character is always mining straight down, and the machine will just drop your character on top of each line of obsidian, and when you're done that line, it will bring you back up to the top and move you to the next one. Well, let's get into the tutorial. First, we need to build a platform that matches the same size and shape of the top of the obsidian tower. Now, keep in mind, some of the towers are different sizes and shapes, so you have to match it perfectly so we mine all the lines of obsidian. Next, we need open fence gates on top of each of the blocks that would lead up to each block of obsidian underneath. Make sure they're all open. Next, we're going to ring the outside of this with any block. I used obsidian here, but you can really use any block here. And we're going to be building a platform to place the rest of our redstone to control where the player drops. We're going to ring in the gates, and then we're going to be building that up a little bit to get ready for the pistons. On top of each gate, we need any block that you can insta-mine. And netherrack is one of those, so that's what I chose here. Next, we're going to build up the backside to get ready for the pistons and redstone. Place one piston in front of each line of netherrack, and this is going to help us move the player past the lines of obsidian that have already been mined. Now we're going to fill the space in between them, but remember to leave some space for the gravel. We put gravel directly in front of the pistons. Next, we're going to be putting obsidian on the back side of the netherrack, and this is so that the pistons don't push past. Now a little bit of gravel, and then we'll fill this in. We're going to put a line of obsidian and buttons here, and this will be to keep the water from flowing down. Another layer of gravel, and then we'll put a little more wool here, and another layer of pistons with observers facing the obsidian. Now another layer of gravel, and we'll get these last ones wired in with some redstone. Now we're going to start the part of the machine that the player comes down in a water stream. And in the corner of this is going to be a bubble elevator to get the player back up here after they've mined a line of obsidian. Down here, we're going to prepare the collection system and some storage area for tools. The collection system is going to be minecarts underneath the pathway that the player comes across to pick up the obsidian that also came up the bubble elevator. Now we're going to put a line of sticky pistons directly on top of the obsidian, and then a line of netherrack, and then a line of wool. And this is going to help move the player to the proper positions after they've mined a line of obsidian. Now we need 2 pressure plates and some buttons to push the water all the way to the end of this path. We need the pressure plates so that we can activate the proper pistons to move the player to the appropriate line so we don't get stuck in a loop of just falling down. Now we're going to count how many gravel we need to lift here so that we can program it that it will move the player to the next row after that line has been finished. And here we see we have 3 from the piston, and that will give us the proper time. After you figure this out, put a block on top to mark it so that when you refill this and restart the farm, then you'll be able to just put the gravel to the proper heights without having to compute it. Another way to know it is each one lifts 2 except the middle one only lifts 1, because in the middle here we have to put 1 wool block, and that will prevent the player from falling there and then mining the piece of bedrock. Now we're going to put the storage chest in here and the collection system, which is just minecarts pulling on that pathway that the player comes across. Two double chests have been enough to handle most towers, but I think the biggest ones may need a little bit more. The redstone for the pistons, we want the first pressure plate to push the higher pistons and the second pressure plate to push the lower pistons, and this will help make sure we don't get stuck in a loop where you fall down the same spot that was already mined. Now down at the top of the obsidian tower, there was one problem with the machine where you could never mine those first 3 spots directly under your feet. So we're going to build a small machine here to push us onto those spots so that we mine all of the obsidian. After the pistons have pushed the player, we also want to get that piston head out of the way so we don't take fall damage when we fall back down on top of it. So we're going to put snow all around here to make sure that we don't get hurt. And also there are redstone torches on top of the pistons underneath those upper pistons so that those pistons will extend as soon as we break through the obsidian in front of the upper piston. And that is the top of the obsidian tower ready to go. Now we need to break all of the wool or whatever block you used underneath all of the open gates. Now we're going to waterlog this area, and the upper part of this farm is completely done. Let's move down. At the very bottom of your tower, you want to begin building the platform and the water flow system that pushes your character into the bubble elevator to go all the way back up to the top of the tower. And you want to have this up off of the void by a few blocks just so that you have some room to work. We need a couple components to ensure that the player moves into the bubble column properly. We need one piston directly above the entrance to the bubble column that pushes the player into the actual bubble column constantly. So we're just using observers and a piston. But we'll activate that at the very last because it's noisy. Now we're going to be building the water flow system that pushes the player into that column. Now this small component is going to be pushing the player back into the water stream so that they don't mine through this soul soil and fall into the void. Don't forget to add an entrance to the bubble column on the ground level so we can get up there. Now let's begin clearing out the way for the middle section of the farm. And here we're going to be building basically just a water source that's going to be pushing all of the obsidian that falls into hoppers that then flow into a chest. So the first thing we're going to do is ring the tower with hoppers. Make sure all the hoppers are flowing into the chest. And then we're going to begin the water source that's going to be pushing any of the loose obsidian into these hoppers. We're going to be placing the wall for this water source 2 blocks on the sides and then water sources on each side of this block in the corner. We're also going to be placing a water source 8 blocks from the edge of the obsidian tower only in these spots here. Do this all the way around, and then we need 1 more block placed in each inside corner to ensure that the water flows properly. Now let's go over how to use the farm and how to reset it after you are done mining the entire pillar. First, I would suggest is filling your entire inventory with some item so that you don't pick up the obsidian as you go in case your character dies, which does happen sometimes. In my testing, once or twice I have died, so make sure you don't have your good armor on you and a pickaxe you're willing to lose. Now, when you go to start the farm, get your player to the top side of the bubble elevator and start mining, but you gotta move quickly so you don't accidentally mine any of the blocks. And then just let your character go and they will mine continuously until the obsidian tower is done or if they die. But as you see here, the player will come back up the elevator after that line is done and the machine will move them to the next line. Now, you may notice I have scaffolding on the top of the tower, and I changed that to snow as scaffolding sometimes gives you fall damage, which eventually will kill you. So keep in mind that that gets changed to snow later. Now we're going to be mining the last block from this line, and this is how the front end works for the 3 spots that you can't get to falling. So you see the piston pushes the player forward, and then the other piston reacts to the observer and then breaks the redstone torch that was powering the piston on top, and now the player can mine through all those sections. And this is a clip of the farm actually working. It's sped up quite a bit, but you can see the player coming up, going down, coming up, going down. It works. Well, that's the farm, and if you want to reset it, just keep in mind you're going to have to clear 2 layers of obsidian at the bottom of the farm, and also the explosion from the end crystal breaks some of the bubble elevator. Besides that, if you reset the netherrack and the gravel, everything should be just fine. Well, that's it for this video, and if you guys enjoyed, don't forget to like and subscribe, and ring that bell so that you don't miss any future videos. Bye!